Good morning. My name is Bethany Colaprete. I'll be meeting with the Cougs today. Welcome to the Daily Coug Connect. Today I'm going to be talking about the link between physical and mental health. I'm a faculty member at the College of Veterinary Medicine, and I work on the Pullman campus. I'm a licensed mental health professional in Washington and Idaho. I'm an eating psychology coach. I also provide counseling and coaching to our veterinary students, house officers, so our residents and interns. I teach and guest lecture, create programs to meet the needs of students, and also coordinate our orientation program. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about the connection between physical and mental health today. So many of you may or may not know LeBron James, world famous basketball player. He was interviewed by Forbes magazine about his performance as a renowned athlete and kind of the pros and cons of 24-hour news coverage. He explained that as an athlete, there's a lot of focus on physical fitness and mental fitness I've always prioritized. He says, it's just as important to my game. The ability to focus and calibrate everything that's going on inside your mind is a skill that can be strengthened over time. LeBron partnered with the creators of Calm app and narrates various meditation exercises. He goes on to say, throughout stressful times of playing the game of basketball and just of being a parent and being a human in a stressful world, these exercises help calm my mind. The American Psychiatric Association and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA, looked at the correlation between mental health issues and medical conditions. An empirically supported intervention that they used was mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR. Implementing individual practices and weekly group sessions improved mental health conditions and medical conditions. So as many of us are trying to kind of figure out how to adapt to the major changes in our home and work lives and also in our society, it's important to just, one, identify your internal state, so your thoughts and your emotions, and then two, remember to give yourself some grace. So why might this topic be important today? Well, because what we do now impacts our health and well-being later on. And as a mental health professional, I focus on the mind-body connection because it's clear to me that our thoughts and our emotions are powerful. They impact our overall health. A concept I talk about in my sessions is around unprocessed emotions. So essentially, just like our homes and our cities have waste management systems, so too must we be able to break down and process big emotions into smaller, more manageable emotions. So if we let emotions build, we create toxicity, and toxic emotions lead to chronic illness. So whether mental, physical, or otherwise. I'm not suggesting that there aren't other ways disease can occur. I'm just merely suggesting that processing emotions along with other treatments will benefit our health and well-being. So a quote that aptly sums up my point is, where attention goes, energy flows. So during this time, we focus on emotions such as, if we focus on emotions such as anger, resentment, jealousy, hatred, shame, helplessness, and fear, our energy starts to drain, our minds become clouded, and our emotions get stuck. So if we focus on other emotions such as gratitude, hope, inspiration, joy, and love, our energy shifts. It begins to lift, our minds become clear, and our emotions move through us a little easier. So if you can't quite get to the gratitude yet, that's okay. Come back when you're ready and work on cultivating these emotions in the future. So why am I even talking about mindfulness and waste management systems? Seems a little odd, doesn't it? Well, there's a concept used in functional medicine called the gut-brain axis. This refers to physical and chemical connections between your gut and your brain. So, and why is this important? Well, because there are millions of nerves and neurons that run between your gut and your brain. Neurotransmitters and other chemicals produced in your gut also affect your brain. Harvard Medical School actually came out with an article about the association between anxiety and depression, or anxiety and digestion, excuse me. Now, I'm not a doctor or a neuropsychologist or a nutritionist. My training is in mental health, and specifically it's school counseling and school psychology. There are minds out there much more brilliant than mine and can explain these connections more fully, but it's worth investigating. So if you're intrigued by this concept, I do encourage you to do some of your own investigation and research. During a time of uncertainty and added stressors and the constant life and work adjustments, it's important to just take a breath and acknowledge some of the emotions that may be arising in us. And the importance of that without judgment and figuring out ways to process them and break them down is paramount. It may not happen right now because many of us are sort of in survival mode, but truly be thinking of ways to maintain or optimize your health, making it a priority over the coming months. If you take anything away from today, just remember that your internal state, your thoughts and emotions are intimately connected to your physical health. So I'm going to give you a few strategies you can use to improve your physical and mental health. One is diaphragmatic breathing. Another is mindfulness, progressive muscle relaxation, and cognitive diffusion. So I'll just explain a little bit about what those are for you. Diaphragmatic breathing is actually sometimes referred to as belly breathing. And this type of breathing helps strengthen your diaphragm. So why is that important? Because it helps you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is sometimes referred to as our rest and digest system. It allows you to relax. So practicing this will help lower your heart rate and blood pressure. It improves core muscle stability, and it reduces the harmful effects of the stress hormone cortisol. One way to practice belly breathing is to just simply place one hand on your upper chest and the other just below your rib cage. This will allow you to feel the diaphragm moving in and out. So breathe in slowly through your nose so that your stomach moves out against your hand. The next one, mindfulness, is essentially actively working to pay attention without judgment. And some of us, that's a really difficult thing because we often have thoughts about what things should be or shouldn't be. But the goal is to be fully present. One way to practice this is to pick one thing in the room and just focus your attention on it. Notice, what's its color? How would you describe its texture? What's its shape? Just spend some time looking at it. So maybe you notice something about it that you've never noticed before. Progressive muscle relaxation is a technique and is purposefully tensing your muscles and relaxing them. You would kind of do this from head to toe, and it would take several minutes to complete. But the goal is to let your whole body physically tense and experience the tension in different parts of your body. I use actually the Calm app or YouTube videos to help me through this process because I need a little guidance. One of the other things that we talk to students about and others is cognitive diffusion. It's a term that refers to identifying a thought that we may be having, and instead of rehearsing the thought like I'm anxious or when can I go back to work or my kids are driving me crazy, you know, we acknowledge the thought and we let the thought pass. So it's a way of disengaging from the negative thought. It's kind of like looking at the thought rather than from the thought. So an example is, imagine floating down a river. Perhaps there's several leaves or other debris floating around you, and all you want is for them to just go away so you can just float in clean flowing water. So instead of struggling with the debris and struggling to stay afloat, what we can do is get out of the water. We can stand on the bank and watch the river move in front of us. So believe me when I say, this is not an easy practice, so it might be helpful to have someone walk you through it. If you're not familiar with any of these strategies, or if you've never practiced them, that's okay. You know, it might be an adventure you decide to embark upon, and if you need assistance, there are trained professionals to kind of help you walk through it. Lastly, sometimes all we can focus on is our basic needs, like just getting adequate nutrition and drinking clean water and getting enough sleep. So wherever you are on the spectrum of mental and physical health, know that offering yourself grace and compassion during this time is also critical to your long-term health. In summary, the link between mental and physical health is closely correlated. So if you focus on one thing, however small it is, it'll support your health in the future. So remember too that Washington State has many resources. The Employee Assistance Program is one for faculty and staff. Washington State University also has the Human Resources page with a lot of really great resources. And then there's also a lot of telemental health options out there. So if there are questions, I'm happy to answer them in the chat box.